Nakamwendo on SAFM.
9 minutes after 12 now. Eskom has escalated load shedding to stage 6 until 5 a.m. on Monday. The escalation follows warnings all week that the grid is highly volatile and only being kept under control through lower demand and less maintenance. Now, Eskom has experienced a rise in breakdowns over the past few weeks, which has forced the group to escalate to stage 4 earlier in the week. So to help us, discuss this and, of course, other matters pertaining to Eskom, we join on the line now by board chairperson, Mr. Mteto Nyati. Mr. Nyati, thanks for your time. Welcome to Update at Noon.
Sakina, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to the engagement.
So, Mr. Nyati, when we initially asked you for this interview, when we sent out the request, we were not on stage 6, but it seems as though you went to Parliament and we were bumped up to stage 4 just before that. And now you're coming to speak to us. We bumped up to stage 6. What is the explanation from Eskom?
Look, we are facing a very volatile situation. The first thing is that our plans across the coal fleet is very unreliable, largely at the back of many, many years of neglect. And we have been working on trying to turn around that situation. And our plan is called the Generation Recovery Plan, which we started in March this year. And we've been working power station by power station, unit by unit, to get us to a point where we can have a relatively stable base. But we're working against an environment that has been left to be at a bad place for a long period of time. So what we are seeing now is really largely as a result of that unreliable base. We just have to keep going and keep doing what we have been doing and accelerating that in order to make sure that we have sufficient number of power stations that are stable. The key is each time you take a power station out on maintenance and bring it back, it should be at a better position than you took it. And that is our drive, Sakina.
Evidently, that's not happening, though, Mr. Nyati, given where we are right now. Let me quote you what you said to Parliament, to the Portfolio Committee on Wednesday. You said, speaking about the Generation Recovery Plan, you said that Eskom had previously relied on open cycle gas turbines to supplement the generation capacity, and which can only be limited by improving the reliability and availability of the coal fleet. So, question there about the coal fleet, but also you went on to say, and I want to quote you verbatim here, you said, and I quote, "While these results are disappointing, Eskom management and the board are working hard to ensure that tomorrow is better than today," unquote.
Yes.
It doesn't seem to be better, Mr. Nyati.
You know, one of the things, if anybody is involved in a turnaround situation, meaning they're trying to fix something that has been a mess and we're trying to get it to a position where it is better, you know that ideally we all would like it to be a straight line. I'm moving from one point to point A to point B, straight line. That's what you would like. All of us would like that. But in reality, what you generally see is that you move 5 steps forward, you move 3 steps backwards, you keep moving, you take another few steps, it becomes a zigzag. But the key point that is you all want is to want to make sure that the trend is going in the right direction. Right now, we've got setbacks, and those setbacks we need to be looking at why are we in this situation, learn from it, and implement those learnings into how we move things forward. And really, that is the only way that we are going to be able to get out of this thing. Stay focused on what we have committed to do, learn as we move along, because some of these situations, they are developing, and it's not like something that's happened before. And we're trying to understand, we call it a root cause analysis. We go and do a deep dive, gain some insights, we take those those insights and we spread them across the other power stations. And really that's what will get us out of this thing. It's not easy. It is frustrating to South Africans. We get that, but our job is to make sure that we apply our engineering knowledge to get us out of these challenges.
To say it's frustrating is perhaps the understatement of the century, Mr. Nyati, because what you're telling us now, we've heard before from various people at Eskom. So none of this is new to the South African public. But when you say you now have a turnaround, a recovery plan in place that's supposed to move us forward, you talk about moving in the right trend. Are we showing that? Because in your briefing to Parliament this week, you spoke about your financial losses, steepest loss at 23.9 billion rand. We've had 280 odd days of load shedding, which is the worst on record, and of course 56% of energy availability factor. So are things actually moving in the right direction?
Things are moving in the right direction, Sakina, and as I'm saying to you that you, in all of these turnaround situations, what you typically find is that from time to time you'll have setbacks, and we are experiencing that time now. And to all South Africans, when you're looking at it, oh my goodness, we are back into stage 6, But the key is how quickly can we get out of that stage 6, and how can we make sure that we do not get back to stage 6. That should be the measure, and whether we are moving in the right direction or not. How long have we not had stage 6 load shedding? If you look at that as a measure alone, you start to understand that, we are making improvements. Even getting into stage 4, we have not had stage 4 for a while. Why? Because there have been a lot of improvement in the fleet. So we are making progress. Right now we've had a setback. We will take that, we'll take the lessons out of that. We are engineers, make sure that we understand what needs to be done, apply that experience and knowledge as we move things forward. We've got a big responsibility of fixing this mess. We understand that, we are doing that. It's not going to be easy, but we keep marching forward.
So, and the problem is now we're talking about averting, being proud of the fact that we've averted stage 8 load shedding. We've been having these conversations, and I'm sorry to sound like a stuck record, Mr. Nyati, but that's the reality. So when we look at the situation right now and you talking about improvement, how exactly are we going to improve the situation? We also have the matter of renewable energies having to come on board. So how exactly, and I'm loath to ask you by when, because we've been given so many dates and none of them have actually shown us any sort of positive result.
We've got this plan, Sakina, that we started to implement in March this year. And it's a roadmap that takes us to, at the end of March next year, we expect to be at an EAF of 65%. Then March that year in 2025, we expect to be EAF of 70%. That is our roadmap. But as we go from, many of you would know that at the beginning of this year, we were sitting at an EAF of around 50%. Now we are sitting with an EAF of 58, 57, and sometimes when there was no load shedding, we're sitting at about EAF of 60%. That is the trend that I'm showing, and that is the improvement that we're seeing. EAF is improving over time. Sometimes it goes back, but overall, in terms of trend, is moving up. So our job is to continue to this trend and minimize those instances where we have to have setbacks, largely because of the experience and looking at the root causes and making sure that we implement those learnings as we move forward. So that is what we are committing to South Africa. We have not changed that, and we will of course have setbacks, but we will continue to learn and drive this thing. We've got people within Eskom that understand this environment. are experienced. Some of them have left, but we still have very good people who have got the technical know-how, who are managing the situation. Very difficult, but we've got committed Eskom people who are going to be taking us out of this. Yes, we will need renewables, but in a country like ours, right now, Eskom is still the biggest contributor to base load. So we cannot do without Eskom. We have to fix Eskom right now.
So at the moment, how are we actually keeping the lights on now that we've moved to stage 6? Are we burning more diesel? The open cycle gas turbines, are they in full force at the moment? Because I think it was about 2 years ago we were told it costs 10 million rand per hour to run those open cycle gas turbines. So how much diesel are we burning at the moment, Mr. Nyati?
Yeah, right now, most of the not most, a significant percentage of the energy they are getting from the OCGTs. As you may have heard me saying that this is the most expensive form of energy. But if you look at it, we need to look at the cost and the benefit. You know, in terms of the country at stage 6 load shedding, we're talking about the cost to the economy of about 900 million rand a day. You know, so we need to put things into perspective. Yes, it's costing us, but if we don't do it, the cost will be even more to the economy. So right now we're banning them, and as we're fixing the power stations, with the view that as we get them back on stream, we will minimize the usage of OCGTs. But right now we have to go through that pain.
How much have we spent on diesel for this year?
For this year, it's probably around 15 billion already that has been spent.
And our
budget for the budget is 30 billion for the year. We're hoping not to get to that level as the operations improve. But right now, we're probably burning a lot more than we had planned for this particular month.
So, Eskom's medium-term system adequacy outlook for 2024 to 2028, it actually sounds a warning, Mr. Nyati, that South Africans should brace themselves for at least another 5 years of load shedding due to several risks and unknowns. Care to unpack that for us, please?
Look, we have a very clear plan, which I've just shared with you, the generation recovery plan that takes us to an EAF of 70%. But of course, the systems operator, they will look backwards and look at the past history and then extrapolate going forward. You know, so we have to earn the right for the system operator to change their focus based on performance. So we have to continue to be improving so that they can start to factor the current performance. Right now, looking backwards, they are projecting, they're giving you the numbers that you are seeing. But from where we are as generation, the generation will have to change that trajectory. And that is our plan. That is the recovery plan. It's meant to take us out of the forecast that you are hearing from the systems operator.
So the message for South Africans there is that load shedding will be with us for at least the next 5 years.
That is not the message. The message is that in 24 months, we should be sitting with an EAF of 70%. At a 60% EAF, which we touched on about a month ago, you saw there was no load shedding for many days around that. So when we say that by the end of March next year, we should be sitting with an EAF of 65%, and you can start to understand what that means. We won't be having as much load shedding as we're having today. So this projection of 5 years is not something that is in our plans at all within Eskom.
And if that situation doesn't materialize by March next year, Mr. Nyati, what should happen?
Which was situation,
the one that you
situation
just
of an
explained to us.
improved environment.
Correct.
But well, if that doesn't happen, we have to double down to make sure that it happens. We don't have an option as Sakina. Our option is to make sure that we get ourselves out of this challenge that we're facing. The people of Eskom are so committed. They are South Africans themselves. They've got families. They go back to this environment. There's this huge commitment to this country. We just have to keep working to make sure that we get ourselves into a situation that is very different from what we have today. Unfortunately, we are living through the consequences, right now we're living through the consequences of huge elements of corruption in our country, because all of this thing, at the end of the day, most of it is largely at the back of that. So as a country, we can learn quite a lot out of this and make sure that we prevent this kind of things from happening going forward.
That's fair, but I guess what I'm getting at, Mr. Nyati, is there needs to be, as people like to say, a consequence management. So we've been told, and there were many promises, many turnaround strategies that have simply not materialized. And I suppose what I'm asking of you more pointedly is, what sort of responsibility will you shoulder if what you are promising us right now does not come to pass? What will you do?
First and foremost is that at the back of the plans that we have, at the end of the day, it is power station by power station that makes commitments to us as the leaders of the business. And we're putting the best people there to go and do the work. And if things don't happen, we provide those people with the necessary support. But if there are clearly some weaknesses at the back of that, then we have to take decisions, and we have been taking decisions around people. And those decisions go all the way up to the leader of the business, go to the new CEO of the business, or go to all the way to the chairman of the business. If things don't happen, that's what needs to happen.
Hence, I'm asking the chairman.
Sorry?
Hence, I'm asking the chairman.
So that's what I'm saying, that consequences have to be going all across the board. Consequences, it could be the chairman, it could be the CEO, it could be the power station general manager, wherever the responsibility lies. Are you willing to resign,
Mr. Nyati, if it doesn't happen?
Am I willing to resign?
Yes.
So let me just put this thing clear to you, Sakina. I took this job because I believe that it is a job where I can add the most value to the country. Given my experiences, it is something that I can do and help get ourselves out of this problem. If it gets to a point where I feel that I am unable to do that, I will do whatever is required for me to step out and get whoever.
Fair enough. All right, Mr. Nyati, the former CEO, Andre de Ruyter, you spoke about, big things at Eskom, big corruption as well at Eskom. And there were acts of corruption, sabotage. You've seen the report, I take it, by this point. And a lot has been said about the political role players. In that report, which I'm assuming you've had sight of, Mr. Nyati, as the chairperson of the board, are there any people cited in that report who are still currently in the employ of Eskom at an operational level?
Look, let me just talk in general terms. In general, we are putting a lot of focus on making sure that there is consequence management linked to corruption. And one of the actions that this board have taken is to appoint an independent forensic company to make sure that all of the cases that have been identified, we have enough data and evidence to take things forward so that they can be prosecuted. And this is what this independent company is going to be helping us with. It is the big step that we're going to be taking to make sure that we address the other part, because one thing to address the operations, but the other is around the culture of the business. And that culture looks at getting rid of the people that are behind some of the challenges that we're facing today, linked to corruption. Yeah.
It doesn't answer my question, Mr. Nyati. The question is a simple one. In the report, are there people cited, and are some of those people still within the operational employment of Eskom?
No. The people where we have got enough evidence and enough information about those people have been they've either resigned from the business, or they have gone through the processes of the business to get them out of the business, or some of them, and many you have been reading in the press, some of the people have actually been arrested, but we need to make sure that because there's so much information around what is going on, and in some cases we don't have the level of information that can lead to prosecution. That's why we have brought in additional capacity that is going to be helping us to get to a point where we can even take more action around people that are not helping our situation within Eskom.
And just finally, Mr. Nyati, because we're out of time, with regard to bonuses, Electricity Minister Dr. Kgosientsha Ramokgopa basically, talking about perhaps incentivizing Eskom employees and that they should be paid bonuses to improve staff morale and performance. What's your view on that?
In any environment, when I look at almost all of the operations that I've been under, if we're talking about high performance culture, which we are trying to build here, you want to make sure that those people that are contributing to getting you where you want to go, you want to recognize those people. You do not want to have an environment where you're treating everybody the same. There is no incentive then for getting things better. So those people that are not pulling their weight, they should not be rewarded. And those people that are contributing should be rewarded. So this is the environment that we are trying to create, a high performance environment where there are consequences if you are not doing well. But when you are doing things, you are contributing towards our turnaround effort, you are going to be recognized. That is what we're building here in Eskom.
And just finally, with regard to the appointment of a CEO, you have sent the candidates to the minister. And I think you said that there are 3 candidates. The position will be filled by year end. So are we still on track for that?
Yes, we are very much on track around that. I'm happy that about a few weeks ago we were able to give the minister 3 appointable candidates, and in our view, any of those 3 people should be able to take the business forward. In selecting those people, we looked at what is it that Eskom is looking for, the kind of leader that would be relevant for the times that we are operating in, and we feel that all three of those leaders should be able to take Eskom forward, and now the government processes have kicked in, and I've stayed very close to that process, and I'm comfortable to say that by the end of the year, meaning end of December, we should be having a new CEO of Eskom.
And are you able to share the names with us of the 3 candidates?
Oh, Sakina.
I mean, we will know ultimately.
At least you try. But
is it a secret, Mr. Nyati?
Yeah, it is a secret.
Why is it a secret?
I cannot be sharing those names. You will hear who are those people. In fact, you will hear the successful candidates. I think that's what South Africans want to know.
Mr. Mteto Nyati, thanks so much for your time. Eskom board chairperson speaking to us there. And this is Eskom has basically bumped us up to stage 6 load shedding. Started at midday until 5 a.m. on Monday. All right, let's leave it there. And we love to hear your views. Let us know what your thoughts are on this.